Hello and welcome to the No Balls podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today we are redrafting the 2014 NBA Draft. Just a quick service announcement. Next week, the playoffs will be upon us. I think the season should be over next Saturday. There might be a game or two remaining on the back end, but we will be doing our playoff preview next week. Before we get started with the 2014 redraft, Sheldon has a trivia question for me. Like always, what do we have today, Sheldon?
All right, Pat. Which eighth seeded team became the only team to reach the NBA Finals? The only eighth seed team to reach the finals. Wait,
I'm about to say I think there's two.
there's two.
Okay,
Okay, wait.
I I I hope I get the years right. Um, to start, the 2023 Heat and it's either the 2000 or the 1999 Knicks, and I'm gonna say the 2000.
Then
No, 1999.
no. My bad. I should have let you finish the thought.
Uh,
I should have let you finish the thought. Yeah, Ben. I totally forgot about the Heat. Like as I was reading that, I was like, wait. There was
yeah,
definitely another team that
I'll
did
do it.
this.
Uh, in 2000, I think it was the Pacers that made the NBA Finals because the Lakers were in the finals that year, and there's never been a Lakers-Knicks finals. So that's how I came to a last-second realization that it was the 1999 team. So I guess that does it for the trivia question. You ready to get started with this NBA redraft?
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, let's go.
All right. First overall, we are redrafting. To start, the first overall pick was Andrew Wiggins to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it was technically the Minnesota Timberwolves. In return, Kevin Love was sent to Cleveland. Are are we still making this selection for Minnesota?
I feel like we should. I feel like we should. What do you think? Where do you stand? Are you feeling no?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Um.
much for me who's gonna get picked at one. But
Yeah. It doesn't really change my answer at all, no matter who's selecting here. I think for Cleveland, I think they would still want, because the Kevin Love deal was like largely because they knew they were gonna just still get LeBron. So they wanted to get LeBron. So I feel like they still make this deal. Minnesota is now on the clock, and we have them selecting Nikola Jokic.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay. So I can't really say the Andrew Wiggins pick was a huge whiff. So we're not gonna really harp too much on that. I'm sure he will be picked in the near future. We're gonna go straight on to the number 2 overall pick. Um, Number 2 overall is the Milwaukee Bucks. Original pick for them was Jabari Parker. Uh, Injuries is essentially the killer for this selection. I don't think Jabari Parker was too bad of a player. Just things didn't really end up panning out for him. Pre-ACL tear, Brandon Knight is here. Chris Middleton had played 64 games, and they have this Giannis Antetokounmpo guy. Um, I think the mispronounce is telling of how people would pronounce his name back then. At this selection, what do we have in mind?
I like Joel Embiid here. Get a big man at the center. Arguably, probably would have went number one if Jokic wasn't in this class. Uh, Great pairing with Giannis, I think, especially with his ability to stretch the floor, and that defense is going to be crazy for the games that he actually can play. Uh, but yeah, I like Embiid.
Yeah. Embiid as well. My pick 100%. Um, I think this is an above average first two overall picks. 100%. I think both of them could uh, be the number one overall pick in pretty much every draft we've redrafted, besides maybe the honest draft. Uh, but I think you can still make arguments for both of those players over Giannis. So, third overall pick, and I think both of us kind of agree that those two guys are kind of in not indispensable, but regardless of what team and what their fit was on the roster, or needs on their roster, you would take Embiid and Jokic
Two
regardless, even
centers
if you had
too.
another center.
Two centers is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. Number three overall was Philadelphia originally selecting Joel Embiid. This is the process 76ers. They are pretty rough. They are building around Michael Carter Williams, Evan Turner, Thaddeus Young, and Spencer Hawes at this current time. Yeah, uh, not very good. What did you end up leaning towards with this selection for Philadelphia? I think you're muted.
my Wi-Fi is not doing very good right now, so bear with me. But there's a couple guys I was looking at. I think Zach Levine was definitely a big one. And Aaron Gordon too. I thought would be interesting. Because we've seen him in Orlando be kind of like the guy, and then we've also seen him like be a good, really effective like role player too, or a role player, not a role player, a three like a third option on team with the Denver Nuggets. But you see this team a lot of wings and power forwards like Thaddeus Young, Evan Turner. I think Michael Carter Williams. Yeah, we won Rookie of the Year that year, so they look good at the point guard position. Um, I don't know. I'm leaning Zach Levine. I like Zach Levine here. What were you kind of thinking?
Yeah, so I would say I had like a four-player tier of like Levine, um, Aaron Gordon, Marcus Smart, and Julius Randle right here. And like you said, like they got all those wings, and I don't think I would really enjoy watching Thaddeus Young and Julius Randle play next to each other. Um, it sounds like RJ Barrett, Thaddeus Young, or RJ Barrett, Julius Randle all over again. Um, and then you mentioned the guard situation. They already have a couple guards there. I take Levine. I think if you're in the situation of a rebuilding team here, like get the guy who can score a shit ton of points, and then figure everything else out a little bit later down the road. I think Levine's fine pick here. Yeah, I don't feel really too compelled given this team situation to make an argument for any of those other guys. So Levine, I'm perfectly fine with third overall. Do you have any other thoughts on this third overall selection?
No,
All right. So that transitions us to the fourth overall pick, which was originally Aaron Gordon. Um, if you look at the 2014 Orlando Magic, their roster consists of Aaron Aflalo at 28 years old, Victor Oladipo, their second overall pick from a year before, Maurice Harkless is there at 20 years old, Tobias Harris at 21 years old, there's Nikola Vucevic here, Etuan Moore is there. There's a good bit of players here that are of note. They would later become a fringy playoff team. What do we think here?
I mean, should we just run it back? Run it back with Gordon? I think that's a solid play.
Uh,
I think you could do that, or Smart or Randall. I think that's the tier you're looking at. And I like running it back with Gordon.
I like Aaron Gordon as well, but it also kind of just didn't work in Orlando before.
Mm-hmm.
So, part of me is like, let's not do it over again because it really clicked once he left. And if you look at this roster, like their only card, like who even is the starting point guard on this team? Like I couldn't tell you who started at point guard for this team.
Yeah,
Oh, Jameer Nelson did.
he did. He was a starter.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Only 68 games. Yeah. So go Marcus Smart. That's what you're feeling.
I'd like Smart.
All right. I'm good with that. Great, great,
Yeah,
great defender, and he's still playing today. I'm good
yeah.
with that.
I think this. We talked about it right before the episode that this was like a point in the draft where um we felt like we could really start to recognize these rosters.
Mm-hmm.
And simultaneously with that, I feel like this is the point in time where a lot of these players are still impactful in the league today, and I think Marcus Smart's a great example of that. Aaron Gordon's a great example of that as well. So I like Smart at 4. At number 5 overall is the Utah Jazz. On this Utah Jazz roster, they have Gordon Hayward, Trey Burke at 21 years old. Derek Favors is there. Alec Burks is there. Richard Jefferson is there. Of course. Ennis Freedom is there as a 21-year-old center. And Rudy Gobert is there at 21 years old. What do we have in mind at this selection?
Yeah, I think Aaron Gordon's on the board still. I think you have to take him. The fit maybe be a little. I mean, maybe he waits a year behind Derek Favors, or behind Derek Favors. But him and Gordon Hayward together would be really nice to watch. I think at that 3-4 spot. So I like, and they're pretty set at the center position. So I tend to lean to Gordon. Right here, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I feel like Aaron Gordon's the best player available. And I don't really know if I like the Randall fit here. I don't know if I like the Aaron Gordon fit here either, all things considered, because they're already kind of crowded at the big position with Ennis Freedom, Rudy Gobert, and Derek Favors, and then you're just adding another wing in that calculation. I don't really, regardless of who you take here, I think it's a clunky fit, but I do think on their 70th percentile outcome, I think Aaron Gordon was a better player than Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
So I will make that selection. What do we think about Rudy Gobert and Aaron Gordon? Like, talk about the Jokic blueprint.
Yeah.
That's the blueprint to slow Jokic down. Yeah, I'm good taking Aaron Gordon here at 5. Original pick was Dante Exum. He's still in the league today.
He is still in league today. That is a
I
true
don't know.
statement.
He hasn't
He's
played
hurt.
much this year. He got hurt at training camp and hasn't played yet. So
No, he has. He's
uh,
played, but he's hurt again.
he's back. Okay. Wonderful job, Dante
In
Exum.
and
He's still in
out.
the league. He revitalized his career very late into it. So next overall pick was the Boston Celtics original pick, Marcus Smart. I think we can be pretty happy with that selection just because we ended up drafting him 4th overall in the redraft.
Mm-hmm.
On this Boston Celtics roster, this is just after the Garnett, Pierce, and There's somebody else included in that deal, but those are the two main guys. That big deal where they kind of gutted the entire roster on this team. Jordan Crawford is here. Avery Bradley is here. Rajon Rondo, I think, got traded midseason to Dallas. Jeff Green played all 82 games for this Celtics team, and that's kind of all that ended up being big for them. I mean, Jared Sullinger ended up playing for a little bit for them. What do we have in mind for Boston?
Yeah. I I don't know. Do we like Randall here? Julius Randle, or maybe even Andrew Wiggins? I think could be
Yeah,
interesting.
those would kind of be the two next guys for me, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
So between those two, man, it's hard. Looking at the Celtics roster, you have Jeff Green, 27-year-old Jeff Green. I like Randall. I'll take Randall over Wiggins. What do you think?
yeah, I hope that in this situation, Julius Randle can end up uh, developing a little more individually, because I think if he goes to this Boston team, he'll have the ball in his hands a lot more than he did early in his career. Because we've seen as his career's continued that he's not necessarily this guy that you slam off ball. He's kind of a guy you need to have the ball in his hands consistently for him to make an impact. And I do like him in the situation here, Boston, where he'll more likely than not get a ton of opportunities to run. Um, yeah, I think Randall's a good pick here. All right, next overall is the not Sacramento Kings,
Lakers,
the
Lakers.
Los Angeles Lakers. There we go. Uh, Original pick was Julius Randle. I we would both say it worked out pretty well. We just selected him one selection higher. Um, just to throw out a couple names. I think Andrew Wiggins. We talked about him with that last selection. Jeremy Grant, I think, is a considerable guy, and I kind of just feel like those are the next two guys for me. Spencer Dinwiddie. I know you hate Spencer Dinwiddie, but Spencer Dinwiddie is also of note. I think would be up there with the next couple guys. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that this team is pretty solid. I mean, you have Nick Young, who played some pretty good ball there. Paul Gasol, who was an All Star this year. Uh, I think he got traded to the Bulls though. So I think Wiggins. I like Wiggins here. I think Wiggins. I know that Jeremy Grant has the defense, but I just think Wiggins would be a solid fit here and a nice like third option and possibly two as his career goes on. And then when Kobe leaves, he could take over. Obviously, he wasn't the didn't really live up to the first overall pick hype. Um, but he still has had a very long career, and yeah, I like Wiggins here.
Yeah, I would say early on in his career, if we can have Andrew Wiggins learn how to play that complementary role that he ended up playing later in his career, I think we're talking about his number one overall selection a lot differently if he's not instantly told to shoot 25 shots a game and isn't punished for not playing defense. I think that's good, even knowing that there is really nothing left in Kobe's legs at this point. Uh, he's still going to demand the ball quite frequently. Um, I like Andrew Wiggins here. I do think even compared to Jeremy Grant, I would feel a little bit more confident and maybe a couple things break the right way for Andrew Wiggins here. Uh, so yeah, that's Andrew Wiggins. Still goes top 10 in this redraft. Um, Next overall pick is number 8 for the Sacramento Kings. Original pick was Nick Stauskas. Um, could really just shoot.
didn't really have a NBA skill outside of that. That kind of did him in. That's all he really had. Um, on this Kings roster, Isaiah Thomas at 24 years old, averaged 20 points per game. Rudy Gay, I'm pretty sure had been traded at this point. Um, but he had started a ton of games for them that season, and yeah, he had just gotten traded there from Toronto, actually, for a correction. Um, DeMarcus Cousins is there. Ben McLemore had been their first round pick a year or two before. Uh, Derek Williams was a first rounder for them. Ended up, it wasn't for them, but had been traded to them while still on his rookie deal. And Patrick Patterson's there on a rookie deal. And not too much else. What do you think here for Sacramento?
Yeah, Pat. I'm seeing 320 plus or just 320 point per game scores. Um, I like the team a lot already. I think a good 3 and D wing would be nice, and that's why I kind of like Jeremy Grant right here. I think this would make this Kings team a real contender if they had Grant on the squad. Um, yeah, I like Jeremy Grant here.
Yeah, me too. 100%. Um, probably like I mean, when you envision 3 and D wing, like is it not just Jeremy Grant? Um, for like every team wanted Jeremy Grant, and then he ended up on the Pistons. So stuff happens. I think if he had been on better teams for the last couple of years, people would still really appreciate Jeremy Grant the way they did in 2019, 2020. Uh, at this point in the draft, we've selected 8 players. Compared to last draft, we went um, not Zion. I always do it. Giannis, number one overall. Uh, following that, we took somebody else at number two, and then CJ McCollum at number three. Or Jesus, I can't even remember anymore. You know what? I'm not even gonna try to ask that question. What'd you say?
Did Gobert go to?
Gobert went two. At this point in the draft, how many of these 8 guys do we think has like could go number three in that last draft?
Oh, in the last draft. Um, I think up to Wiggins. So is that
Yeah.
all 8?
Wiggins, we took Wiggins at 7.
And who do we
So
just take? Grant.
Grant at
Uh,
8.
yeah, I think Grant would just miss the cut for me, but I think pretty much everyone else I could take at 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think just my first reaction when looking at this draft was like, oh my God.
Yeah, this one is definitely one of the better ones that we've done. Thankfully.
Like it's loaded. Like not only is there 2 guys who are like above average number one overall picks at the top, you get to this point in the draft and you're like, the tier 2 guys goes pretty deep into the lottery. Like I really like these tier 2 guys, and now we're probably bumping down into like a tier 3 type of a thing. Yeah, let's see what tier 3 looks like. So at number 9 overall was the Charlotte, I think at the time Bobcats, and then they would shortly after become the Charlotte Hornets. On their roster, Kemba Walker is still 23 years old. Al Jefferson was their leading scorer, was a top 10 MVP finish that season. Started all games at center for them. Gerald Henderson started all games at the shooting guard position. Josh McRoberts was their starting 4. Michael Kidd Gilchrist was their starting 3. Still only 20 years old. Cody Zeller, a 21-year-old, is here. Bismack Biyombo, a 21-year-old, is here. I think they're pretty set at the center position. What do we have in mind here for the Charlotte? We'll just still call them the Hornets for intensive purposes.
Yeah, I want to go wing, Pat. I kind of want to go wing because like you said, the guards are looking good and the center position is looking good. Sorry, and they also have Kemba Walker, Gary Neal, who had 11 points, and Ramon Sessions, who had 10 points per game for them last year. So I think there's three guys I'm kind of looking at here. I think T.J. Warren, Jabari Parker. I know that he had injuries and everything, but I mean, he still put up decent numbers, and he played 8 years in the league. So that's always like a just worth a look because if he can give you just a little bit, uh, maybe not the longevity that some of these guys have that are still playing in the league, but yeah, I think T.J. Warren, Jabari Parker, and then if you need a point guard or a guard, I think Jordan Clarkson could be a really good fit. He was incredible throughout his first. Really, he's been really good his whole career and a really good six man for the last couple years. So if you need a guard, I think you go Clarkson because the wing position's a little weak. I mean, T.J. Warren is a really good player. He's not really the superstar level that some of these other guys have been. And Jabari Parker, I mean, third pick in the draft, you're getting him at 9, and he still played solid. I mean, 14 points per game on a little bit below average shooting from the 3-point line, but still a really good player. What were you kind of thinking here?
So I definitely like those three players you mentioned, but I was like thinking like an entirely three different set of players, which is crazy because I think that just is a testament to how good of a draft this was. Here with the guy next to Kemba, like I really like Gary Harris as an option because he can space the floor and then he can be a defensive wing next to Kemba Walker, and I really like that as a possibility. I also really like if I am going to get like a scoring type of guard, give me Spencer Dinwiddie, who's 6'5" and has played the two quite frequently in his career. I do like Clarkson, but I wouldn't necessarily feel great about him and Kemba Walker starting at the guard positions together. And then I didn't really consider him at this selection, but Clint Capella is also like, really good. I think he's the best player available currently, but they have two 21-year-old centers at the time. I think I'm kind of leading Gary Harris, but out of your guys, I do really like T.J. Warren because I do think he kind of peaked like at like an 80th percentile of what Jabari Parker was supposed to be in a draft, and I think a lot of T.J. Warren's really great scoring seasons were on some like bad Suns teams, so they don't get that much recognition. So I'm perfectly fine taking T.J. Warren here. I think otherwise I would like Gary Harris here.
Okay. I like Gary Harris too. Gary Harris could play he was pretty versatile, right?
Yeah, he played to play, a small three for you.
Yeah. Let's go. We'll take Gary Harris here.
Yeah. The original team that took Gary Harris, I think, is up next.
The
It was,
76ers
but they
again.
what?
Did we get the 76ers again?
Oh, you're 100% right. That's in another pick. All right, we're up to the 76ers now. Original pick we took for them was Zach LaVine. I think there's a pretty easy pick here. Just for a reminder, Evan Turner, Michael Carter-Williams, Thaddeus Young. Now Zach LaVine is on this team. What do we have in mind for Philadelphia here?
All right, let's see. You already had Thaddeus Young, Clint Capella.
Yeah.
Clint Capella.
Yeah.
I think that would make
Clint
this
Capella
team nice.
He was the guy that like jumped out at me. I was like, okay, yeah, Clint Capella's here.
Let's take him while
Hopefully
we
they can.
can.
Yeah. In the last draft, they did all the stuff with Nerlens Noel and did draft him and then didn't draft all that stuff. Yeah, let's just get your center here, and I think Clint Capella was definitely a much better player than Nerlens Noel really was.
Yeah.
Non-diamond on Nerlens Noel, just saying that Clint Capella was very, very good in his NBA career. We're now up at Denver, who originally traded this pick to Chicago to move down and select Gary Harris. So I guess we have to make the decision. Are we still picking for the Bulls here, or are we picking for the Nuggets?
Who made the original pick? The Bulls?
So yeah, the Bulls originally selected Doug McDermott. I guess, and
We'll do Bulls.
we yeah,
I feel
because
like
I
we
do
should
think
do Bulls.
what's on the board is like kind of fair value compared to what Doug McDermott was.
Yeah.
On their roster, Jimmy Butler is here at 24 years old, about to become their superstar. Luol Deng's there, Joakim Noah's there, Mike Dunleavy, a very off healthy Derrick Rose. DJ Augustine is here, Taj Gibson. Really not a bad team. Carlos Boozer's there, started most of their games at the 4 position, and then a young Tony Snell and Marquise Teague. Jimmer Fredette's also there, so I could see they clearly had a type selecting Jimmer and Doug McDermott. March Madness legends. So, since we're making this pick for Chicago, what do we have? What do we think? What do we think?
Yeah, I like Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins or Clarkson
We
here.
already took Wiggins.
Or not Wiggins, sorry. TJ Warren. TJ Warren or Clarkson here.
You're
Or
gonna hate me,
Dinwiddie.
but
Or Dinwiddie. Or
yeah,
Dinwiddie. You could also
I was
go
gonna throw
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie.
Yeah. I'm good with taking Dinwiddie at the point guard. Would you run him with that 2 next to Rose? That'd be nice.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I feel like he could just do like a better version of what DJ Augustine would end up doing at this time. Like, if he needs to start next to Rose, he can make it work. And then if he's a bench guy, I like Dinwiddie as a bench point guard, and I just like him in both of those roles. I think it's a really good, and I think they have a good defensive infrastructure with Butler, Luol Deng, Joakim Noah. Like they have a ton of defensive pieces to have a 2 guard lineup with Rose and Dinwiddie, which isn't even too small, by the way. I like that, and what would end up happening is you would have enough scoring with Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, to not necessarily have to take a guy like Warren or Clarkson. So I like Dinwiddie here. So I guess I have to completely pull up another team now. The next overall selection was Orlando. Oh, shit. So what happened is the original Philly pick that we just did and selected Clint Capella for was originally Alfred Payton, which was traded to Orlando. So now this pick originally would have been Philly. They took Dario Saric. One not actually too bad of a pick. I still think we make this pick as Orlando, though.
Okay, bet.
Just because
So who did
in
the
Philly's
Magic
situation,
has the Magic taken it? The Magic drafted who did they draft again? Who did we have them taking earlier?
yeah, they selected somebody earlier.
Was it Levine? No.
We had him
Randall?
take Smart.
Smart. Yeah.
So much going on. This is the Jock Vaughn led Orlando Magic, by the way. So there'll be Smart, Oladipo, Maurice Harkless, Tobias Harris, and Nikola Vucevic is their current lineup, based on the way we've drafted. I like taking TJ Warren for them here. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Also worth mentioning, your guy Bogey's in this draft.
Yeah.
I do think I would rather have Do I? I don't know.
I'd probably rather have Clarkson.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like Bogey kind of had Clarkson as a passer though.
Yeah, I mean, it depends the situation. I just like Clarkson's ability to score with the ball in his hands. But I mean,
Yeah.
Bogey
It,
definitely has that.
in this situation though, I don't think we can justify taking a like a real guard. Like I do think we need a wing size player here. And I think TJ Warren is
No, I like T.J. Warren.
yeah.
No, yeah, T.J. Warren for sure, for sure.
Yeah, TJ Warren goes 12th overall to Orlando. Uh that's so fun. All right, number 13, not number 3. Minnesota Timberwolves. Original pick was Zach LaVine. Obviously, he's not available at this point. We had them taking Nikola Jokic first overall. They actually end up with 2 picks. It feels like we've had 2 picks for a ton of teams in this draft. So Ricky Rubio's there. Corey Brewer was their starting 3. Kevin Martin was their starting 2. We can go a lot of different ways. Do we take Nikola Jokic's best friend, Bogey?
Yeah, either Bogey. Yeah, let's get Bogey here. We'll get Bogey.
Yeah. And they both come overseas because they both wait a year before they come to the league. So they'll both come over
Yeah.
at the same time. Um,
Interesting.
so they can really tank the next season. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 100%. Bogey going to Minnesota, team up with Nikola Jokic. Last pick of this draft was originally TJ Warren at 14 for Phoenix. Obviously was a pretty decent pick because we took him a couple of picks higher. On this Suns team, this was prior to the Devin Booker selection. On their roster, it's going to look very weird. They won 48 games the year prior. Goran Dragic, Eric Bledsoe are on this team. PJ Tucker, Gerald Green, Channing Frye, Markieff Morris, Miles Plumlee, Marcus Morris. And that's like a bunch of their main players. Ish Smith is also there. What do we think here for Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it one more time. Jordan Clarkson. I like Jordan Clarkson here. 16 point per game scored throughout his career. 33% from the 3-point line. 43% from the field. Good dribbler. Can shoot the ball. Um, yeah, I mean they could use some guard help. I feel like whether that be backup coming off the bench or in the future starting. One of the better. He's always in the 6 man of the year candidates, especially over the recent years. I feel like I kind of like Jordan Clarkson here, Pat.
Me too. Just indispensable offense is what he is. Later down the road, they would end up moving on from both Bledsoe and Dragic. Both, the Bledsoe one was kind of forced, and then the Dragic one I think was kind of a mistake. Yeah, let's get Clarkson. They have a ton of these wing players already on the roster, and I don't really think there's a center worth reaching on at this point. I think the best one available is like Yusuf Nurkic, and I think he's just kind of a good player. I think he would be taken short after. Do you want to go over some of the short after lottery picks? Because we just finished the lottery and
Short after.
like players who just missed the lottery.
Yeah, sure. Um, who have you said? Have you said anyone yet?
Here, I'll just go over the players we did select. So at number 1, Minnesota gets Nikola Jokic. Number 2, we had Milwaukee getting Joel Embiid. Number 3, we had Philly taking Zach LaVine. Number 4, we had Orlando taking Marcus Smart. Number 5, we had Utah selecting Aaron Gordon. Number 6, we had Boston taking Julius Randle. Number 7, we had the Lakers selecting Andrew Wiggins. Number 8, we had the Kings selecting Jeremy Grant. Number 9, we had the Hornets taking Gary Harris. Number 10, we had the 76ers taking Clint Capella. Number 12, we had Orlando taking TJ Warren. At number 13, we had the Timberwolves taking Bogdanovich, and number 14 was Phoenix taking Jordan Clarkson. Other players we do want to shout out on this draft. I'll let you go first here.
Dario Saric for sure. Yusuf Nurkic as well could probably get a little shout out. He definitely probably would have been drafted pretty soon, especially if a team needed a center. I think if this is the Joe Harris I'm thinking of, I think Joe Harris, yeah. Joe Harris was that guy for the Nets for a little bit, for like a 3-4 year stretch. So, a team that needed a good 3-point shooting guard, / small forward sometimes, that could stretch the floor. I think that Joe Harris definitely would have went off the board for sure. Let's see.
I got
If
one.
a team, okay, go ahead.
I feel like, I don't know, I think he could have been in consideration, but like Kyle Anderson, it's like awesome. He never really got a chance to be a consistent starter anywhere, so I don't think people really realize how good of a player he was, but like he's kind of just like a do-it-all, a wing player, like kind of ahead of his time. I think in college he played point guard at 6'9".
Ben
Really fun
Simmons.
player there. Yeah, I think he went to UCLA too, right?
Nah, Ben Simmons went to LSU.
Or that's what I meant. Okay,
Oh,
Kyle Anderson went to UCLA and Ben Simmons went to LSU. Okay, I was kind of close, kind of not. I mean, Elfrid Payton, second in this
I was just about
draft
to say.
class. Second in the draft class in assists per game. Had 20 assists in a game this season. Do you know who else is in this draft class?
Uh, who?
Legend of this podcast.
Shabazz Napier?
No, I don't think we've ever mentioned him. Vasily Micic.
Oh. I saw that. I didn't put two and two together. I didn't know the first name. I only knew the last name. Damn. Micic. That's crazy. European legend.
And then he takes 10 years to come over. But hey, if he would have played his prime in the NBA, I think he would have been a good player. He didn't play his prime in the NBA. We talked about Jabari Parker a little bit. I think if he didn't get such terrible injury luck in his career, he would have been a good player. And then Rodney Hood was pretty good for a couple years. Started on the Blazers in some playoff series, and Mavs legend Dwight Powell. Who knew he would outlast Luka? Who knew? Yeah, outside of that, like I think this is a crazy deep draft. I think the talent throughout the lottery is definitely the strongest that we've selected so far. Definitely the strongest redraft that we've had the pleasure of doing. Do you got anything else on this one?
Nah, this one was definitely a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah.
It's like one of
100%.
the more like not clear cut. I think there's a lot of options at certain picks.
I think specifically because of team fit, like you could have gone any way from like 4 to 8, not 4 to 8, like 3 to 8. Like I feel like the difference between like Levine and Grant between 3 and 8 isn't that much, and I think and I don't think any of the team fits were necessarily great for guys like Randall or Aaron Gordon, even if we do think those guys are excellent players. We just kind of had to take them because they were really, really talented, and we've gone very high in some of the other redrafts we've done. Yeah, you got anything else before we wrap this episode up? All right. Next week's episode, we will be making playoff type of predictions episode. We'll talk about it a little bit.
Some
Off.
play-in series
Ooh.
predictions.
Yes, plan. We do have to talk about the plan first. But yeah, that's what next week's episode will be. It'll